Hi.
Hi.
This is our first time making a video for Mycelia Familia. Um, we are in an apartment. Um, my name is Elizabeth Osuna, but that's a professional name. If we're speaking non-professional, you can call me Doña Liz. Um, this is Buana, the tabby cat. You'll see him very often in these videos. You can introduce yourself.
My name is Jake Willard, non-professionally Don Yakael. And pretty much Mycelia Familia was something we came up with together to represent. We kind of just had a discussion about how how we wanted to build a community of like-minded people. I dabbled in mycology for a long time and got really interested in mycelium and understood a lot more about life through mycelium. And we kind of came up with this idea together to cultivate a community through the fundamentals of how mycelia operates. And thus, Mycelia Familia was born. And Doña Liz over here has been pushing me to try and get in front of a camera and speak. I hate cameras, so excuse my social awkwardness, but yeah.
I don't like cameras, but I put myself out there anyways because let's just say a lot of people when I was going to school in my childhood would always tell me, put yourself out there. You just never know what you'll catch. You know, that saying is shoot your shot, see if you make it, and if you make it, nice, you succeeded that shot. And bouncing off of mycelia, I wanted to add the familia part because all my life I've always wanted a familia. And a familia to me, from what I learned in my education, is your typical nuclear family. And in today's times and what we live in America right now, aka California, it that doesn't exist, at least in my journey. It's not existing. A nuclear family, as you would say, the traditional way. I built a blended family. Um, so a blended family means where, I already have a child and I met Jake and he got to know me and got to know my child and he accepted us as a bundle. We came as a bundle deal. You either take us two together or you go walk away, go kick some rocks. And Jake was like, no, I like kids. I want babies too. Um, and I was like, you want babies? What? Unheard of from a guy like him. Or at least where I come from, you don't hear guys saying, I want babies immediately when I first met him. And I was like, wow, that's hot.
No much.
And that's when we got to know each other more. And we had kids of our own. We have two babies of our own. They both have special needs. Our son was diagnosed with autism, and our little one, she is showing the same signs, but she's too early to be diagnosed with anything really. Um, I, as a mother, um, I'm very lucky to have an educational background in child development and family studies. I went to Humboldt State University um, for 5 years, and I got my bachelor's in child development and family studies. what did I do with my degree? I became an early childhood educator. I've been in childcare, in and out of childcare for about 8 years. And, whoever has crossed my path, I've always advocated for them. I provided resources for them. Shoot, I at one point in my life moved my family out of our comfort home, our own safety net, to support a fellow neighbor. And let's just say we don't talk anymore. And it's unfortunate because I took that big jump for that neighbor and we don't speak to this day. It's sad. But that's one example of mycelia, you know. I'm a type of mycelia that likes to lend out my hand, lend out my hair, lend out my clothes and my feet, my bones even. I'll break my neck for somebody, literally. And sometimes, as time goes on, people show their true colors. And my spirit tends to weave those people who used me and abused me out of my life. And I'm very, very grateful that my spirit has done what it's done so far and how far it's taken me to this day to understand how this world functions, how people are. Not everyone is the same. I have to take everything with the, how do they say it? With the grain of salt. Yeah. So I lack trust. I lack trust in everything right now, other than my children. Those are the only beings that I trust in my world are my children, because those are innocent beings. They have nothing to lie about unless they're afraid. And that within itself, I hope they find somebody who they can share those fears with. And I know they will find somebody. And I know I will hear it from someone, and I won't bring it up to them like that, because it feels like they're being shamed when it's brought up. But I will touch on topics that would have I've done if I was put in those situations. I use myself as an example for my kids. At the end of the day, my children do observe everything I do, and they do repeat what I do. From how I eat, Jake was telling me Rafa eats exactly like you, Liz. And I'm like, that's my son. But I mainly wanted to open up this video to introduce Mycelia Familia. So Jake introduced where Mycelia came from, how he perceives and how Mycelia came to his life, and then what familia looks like to me, which is connection, a trusting connection with people in my community who aren't out here to abuse me, to use me, um, and to just genuinely treat each other like brothers and sisters, genuinely taking care of each other, not just for tit for tat. Like, tit for tat means like I gave you a Cheeto, you know, and I see you're eating a bag of Ruffles. You have to give me one of your Ruffle chips because I gave you a Cheeto. That's tit for tat. I'm the one who is more than willing to give you the whole bag of chips and not have anything in return. Because I don't expect anybody to pay me back. And that's support. That's me showing care and love and compassion towards the person in front of me. And that, to me, is familia. It's family. Love, compassion, respect, kindness, integrity, modest, accountability, too. Being accountable for yourself and for myself. I have to take accountability for myself, too. And I have, in a lot of ways. And I want to move on to the topic of mental health.
going on?
Um, so today I was discharged from a psychiatric hospital. I spent, today is Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I admitted myself on Saturday evening. Okay. I admitted myself in because I was having some suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts, intrusive thoughts. You know, I was building up over time. I do see a therapist. You know, I'm in the process. I was in the process of getting in touch with a psychiatrist to talk about medication. Um, it's just life was hitting me back to back to back. And it's hard to hold on to this much pressure and have, you know, I can share this with a loved one. I can share this with Jake. I can share this with people who know me. But from my understanding, it's not helping me from those people. So what I got out of from the psychiatric hospital was I needed a third person to really hear what's happening about me. And I needed that different perspective, a stranger to tell me, hey, Liz, I hear this is what happened, and I can see how much it's affected you. And I appreciate that person, that stranger, because it wasn't someone that I know. You know, it was someone different. Someone different, a stranger who can see just within the 5 minutes I sit with them and talking to them. They can see I'm really trying so hard as a mom. I'm working my ass off as a mother to help my kids, to love them, and to meet their needs. And it just sucks when things keep happening to me that is just out of my control. For example, you know, I didn't get evicted last year. My lease ended. It was a year lease. And it was pretty shitty because our lease ended in October. That's a really shitty time to be looking for housing in where we live. We live in Humboldt County. And we tried our best. You know, I took a trip to go see my dad. And that within itself was so stressful because Jake's mom was so worried about what was going on the news, about where my dad's area is from. It's Sinaloa. It's a big state in Mexico. Well, not that big, but it's a good chunk of a state, you know, Sinaloa. And there was, at that time, there was a lot going on with the cartels in Culiacan. And Culiacan is at least 3 hours or a little bit more, or maybe less, from where my dad is located, and that was in Mazatlan. That's where my dad is from. That's where my paternal family is from. Their general area of location of where they derived from. Their indigenous side is there. um, and I didn't really appreciate that. She wasn't willing to hear me out. You know, I reached out to relatives, I reached out to friends. I had friends working at the airport telling me they're still allowing people to fly in and out of that area. And, well, his mom told me, no, I'm not going to fly back to California because I don't want you guys to go to Mazatlan because it's unsafe. So I had to sacrifice my deposit for my apartment, shove everything in my storage unit, not even able to organize it, and throw whatever I could on the streets for people to have. And I drove all the way to Texas to pick up my son and drove all the way back to California just to go catch a flight and see my dad. Because I haven't seen my dad in, well, at that time, I haven't seen him in like 2 years. And I wanted him to see our son. He deserves to see our son. He deserves to see the lineage grow. I was only allowed to spend a week with my dad. Originally, we had planned 2 weeks, but because we were so short on funds, we couldn't stay that long. So I didn't take any pictures with my dad. All I have is memories. And those memories are gonna stay with me forever because I love my dad. I love every ounce of history he has to share about me, about himself, about La Familia, and about me because I truly want to understand why I am the way I am today and why my dad is the way he is today. Why are my relatives the way they are and why do they treat each other the way they do? And I understand a lot of whys now that I'm older. And, we made it back. We had a lot of support to come back home, and after that, I found out I was having another baby. And I was scared. I was so fucking scared. I did not know what to do. So I know with my oldest, she was premature. My second born was premature. And I know this third one was going to be premature too. I worked at my son's daycare because the owner, well, she saw I have an educational background. She knows I've worked in childcare. And she shot her shot with me. And I said yes. I worked there, and well, when I was working there, the people there didn't like my energy. They weren't vibing with who I was. I'm a person who is timid, who is slow to warm when I walk into new spaces, especially when I don't see any people of color in a space. So I'm going to be quiet because why? My spirit feels like I'm a slave in that space because there's no minorities in that space. Even if you say you're a minority, I'm sorry, but you're white passing to me. If you're not like brown, or if you don't treat me, or if you don't speak to me in your native language, if you speak to me in your native language, I'll accept it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I fuck with this. Thank you. You see me. Porque el español es mi primer lenguaje. Es mi lenguaje nativo. Y a veces la gente se espanta cuando escucha este lenguaje. Piensa que siempre estoy hablando algo mal, pero no. No es nada malo. I'm not saying anything bad in my own native language, just to sum it up. And, it's crazy to me that people do get intimidated by me. That's what happened. Few people got intimidated by me. They couldn't even look at me. They had their backs towards me trying to talk in a quote unquote staff meeting of 3 people. That feels so dismissed. I'm curious how that would make you feel if someone turned their back on you, trying to make it a team effort talk. That makes me feel like I can't even talk to you because you have your back towards me. And then when I'm advocating for myself and my feelings to the boss, she can see it too. And this person's pregnant too. I'm pregnant too. They say they're high pregnancy. I'm saying I'm high pregnancy too. Like, I'm not trying to one up you, person. I'm here to take care of you as long as you're willing to take care of me. But if you're not willing to take care of me, well, I'm going to also turn my back on you. That's just what it is. I'm mirroring your personality and what you do to me as a character. And then towards the end of my wimps, his car got repossessed. My car was next. Because all what we were working for was saving our money for an apartment. And as my pregnancy was going on in February, The stress was getting so real. We did get our own space. I was able to obtain a 1 bedroom apartment. But I felt like I had no help. I called my friend. I asked her, hey, my car's about to get repossessed. I'm going to come out there soon to look for a car. My mom found a car for me. I'm so, so grateful that she did. I went out there, looked at the car, drove it. I said, cool, this is a car, it can drive. I tried to take it up north. It broke down on me on the I-5 right by Fresno. The person who sold me the car was really nice enough to get a friend from LA and go drive to Fresno, pick me up in the car, and drive me back to San Bernardino County. Shout out IIE 909. um, but yeah, shit. It was shit. I was eating shit. It fucking sucked. But I flew back home. More shit was happening. I felt so mentally unstable. I called my best friend and I said, hey, girl, I don't think I can stay here right now. I need to be in a space where people can take care of me. And I know you guys can take care of me. You guys have a busy house. There's always going to be someone there. And I know if someone's at least there, nothing's going to happen to me. She said, yeah, come. I packed whatever I could in my car that was about to get repossessed and drove all the way back to where I'm from, which is San Bernardino County, in the heart of San Bernardino. I spent 2 months with my best friend. It was hard. I paid whatever I could. I wasn't there for free. I shared whatever food stamps I gave. And then eventually it was $400 a month. The last month that I was there, I gave them $400 and I wasn't even there for a whole week. I went to an Airbnb because I felt I needed my own space. I was so stressed out, so overwhelmed. My best friend understood. And I'm grateful she didn't take that personally. It was just, there was a lot going on and I couldn't handle it. I had to give my dog to rescue, make sure my dog went to a really great space where he wasn't suffering outside in the heat. And I know my best friend's brother and dad are really mad at me for doing that. But I hope they can understand that that dog deserved to be inside and not outside. As much as he guarded the fence, he doesn't deserve to be like that or treated like that. He deserves to have a bath. He deserves to be played with. He deserves to chew up a ball. So that's why I let a nice lady from Orange County take the dog. And I'm grateful for you because I know you're going to take care of him really good. From going to an Airbnb for like a month, and then the following month came, stuck there again at a different one. At this one, it was a really beautiful house. I want to say a house of God. God reminded me He was there with me, with the scriptures on the walls, the person praying for me, and on top of it, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center was just a 5-minute drive away. On my last day there with my host, I packed all my things because I knew I was about to give birth. I don't know how. My spirit just said, pack your shit, Liz, because you're about to go through some shit. I didn't understand why my body did it, but it did it. Go to my doctor's appointment. I'm having really bad back pain, right? Bad back pain. I'm waiting for my doctor's appointment was at like 12. My ECM person was with me, and she can see that I'm in pain. I have Rafa, my son, with me, and she stays with me for like an hour and a half. She's like, Liz, I'm sorry, but I gotta meet with somebody else. But please tell me how it goes and how I can support you, and I hope you feel better. I said, thank you. I think it was like almost 2 o'clock, almost 2 o'clock. I go in, I tell him, hey, I cannot like move too much. It hurts to sit down. Like my back just really hurts. And yesterday I did bleed a little bit. And the lady said, I'm going to take you to labor and delivery. They checked me. They told me I was like at 6 centimeters. I was like, oh, fuck. They said, let's get you on a bed. We have to get you prepared because you can go from 100 real quick here in like a minute or two. And, well, 3 o'clock came, right? That whole process, 3 o'clock came. Sayamara was ready to come out so fast. My body was like, oh. Oh. And the nurse was like, stop pushing. I'm like, I can't. It's happening. And she's like, oh, it's coming out, nurse, doctor. Telling me to push. And I push. She comes out. Have her under a plastic bag. She's little. She's not supposed to be out. She's little. Put her on me. She's crying. I'm talking to her. I'm like, you're so precious. I love you so much. I'm like, you look like your daddy. You have your dad's eyes. And they took her, they put her in the incubator, gave her some oxygen, the NG tube, and all that good stuff, and took her to the NICU state where they have all the premature babies. Pushed my placenta out. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep it. Oh, I hate that because I am allowed to keep my placenta because it came from me. But the doctors were like, you didn't sign no forms. You're not entitled to this. And I was like, I'm not going to fight you right now, okay? I got other things to just do because that's fucked up. Anyways, so I'm on my healing journey. I tell Jake I had the baby and he didn't know what to do. He's out in Humboldt County. I'm in Southern California. I had my baby and that's that. I decided not to talk to Jake or his family after the birth and while I was taking care of Zaimar and Rafa because I was very mad. I have every right to be mad. I did not want to, I don't want to share my business to them because I know they're going to go sharing it to the other person and the other person and then that person and that person. And that's one of the reasons why I kept to myself. And I apologize if I kept to myself because not everything that goes on in my life people deserve to know. Especially if they're not even helping me. I'm sorry, Jake. All of this is not so fun to hear. But it happened. I recovered. Baby girl's doing really great. I'm pumping. Made a fuck ton of milk that I stacked up my mom's freezer. She has 2 freezers. I stacked both of them up with breast milk. And then when she came out, that work by myself was fucking heavy. 2 babies at the same time. Rafa wakes up was waking up 8 times in the middle of the night, plus a newborn trying to pump. And man, I gave myself the props because that shit was not fucking easy. I thank my mom a lot. I know her mans was so upset that she helped me out, but that helped me so much. No mother deserves to do all that shit by herself. It literally takes a village. I think 10 people 10 people, five, oh shit, five on the mother, five on the baby. Like, that's a solid village right there. And five people in the kitchen, five people working on the house. That's a fucking village. That's a dream of a village for me whenever I have another baby. Hint, hint. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. I I know it's gonna happen one day. I'm gonna manifest that. And for those people who get to be in that space during that time, fuck yes, you're my team, man. I appreciate y'all. Once we were healed, both my baby and I, when she was out of the hospital, got the green light, she's healthy and growing and fine. I had a homegirl tell me, hey Liz, you can always come here, man, if you ever feel like you got nowhere else to go. And I did. I did let her know in advance when I did. And we shot our shot together. Came out back to Humboldt County in August. You know, feeling things out, trying to move around slowly, keeping my head low, hoping no one recognizes me. Because I went through a lot of trauma. I left a job that I really liked a lot. And I said a lot of things that they did wrong to me. And now they don't like me because I pointed out the wrong things that they done. But what can I do? Live with the trauma. um. Anyways, I still love you guys, by the way, at that job that I'm talking about. No bad blood, really. I know you guys got bad blood with me because of what I've seen through the media. But just no bad blood to you guys, because all love here, always. You know, if you guys ever knock at my front door, please come in. You're welcome. You want a cup of coffee? Do you want a meal? Do you want to chat? Do you want to smoke a joint? Do you want to smoke this nicotine vape that I got? That's just how I am. Not, I'm not vindictive. I'm not malicious. I'm not malintent. No bad intentions here. Even with the owners too. I just want justice from the owners. And that's just an apology. Anyways, gotta let that go. So come out here with my homegirl. She has a kid too. You know, I'm living by her rules under her roof, and it's not bad. You know, she's pretty chill. She introduced me to the TikTok world, tapped into that community, met some friends, awesome friends, by the way. Um, and then she met the love of her life and fled to Southern California to live with the love of her life, which I'm very happy. At the time, I was so fucking sad. I just didn't know what to say, and I'm sorry, homegirl. You know, I was just sad that another person is gone, but you know, it's not as bad as a text away, you know, or a phone call away. But at the time, I'm sincerely sorry for not sharing the excitement that I truly did have inside me. I was just remorseful, sad that you were leaving. But I'm happy, you know. I'm happy for you. I just hope he fucking treats you like the princess you need to be. Oof, like him. Oof. He has to treat me like a princess I need to be. Oof. Sorry. um and then cuz she was moving, I was busting my ass off to get our own place. I obtained that. I got my own place. You know, the kids, Rafa's going to school. My oldest is going to school. My little one's going to daycare. And then their services are starting. They're picking up. You know, I had established their evaluations in November of last year. And then that's what helped them get their services get started in like February or in January. And the caregiver that my youngest and my oldest was used to going to um, did not like the fact that there was going to be external services coming into her home, which every right for her. But that's making me question, what are you doing in your house that you're not willing to have a physical therapist come in and take care of one child? Well, they're not taking care of them, but they're with them and doing what they need to do with our baby for like 30 minutes to an hour. And that's like one child less in her care, technically, but not technically. But she terminated our care, and that hurt. That hurt us a lot. And, well, we had to look for a new care. And that's what we did. We found someone different. And I made a post about our experience, about our care getting terminated, and, that caregiver brought herself to the light, because I kept her anonymous. Normally, when I make posts about our experiences with people, I like to keep them anonymous just because to protect their identity and for nobody to go out there and fucking doing stupid things. So we don't want that. So she came out of the light and she expressed on my comments, and I hit her up. I called her. I'm like, hey, I saw your comment. Let's talk about it. And she apologized to me. She asked me if she'd give her another chance and let her return for one last month, because I was about to start a new job where my baby was going to be able to go with me. I let her know I'll think about it. I hung up, I took the apology, I apologized, I removed my post, and that was it with that person. And then let's, you know, I'm have this new caregiver taking care of our baby. You know, I start this new job, training for this new job. The first week went well, and then the second week came, and I start to feel like I'm being micromanaged in this new job, new space. I'm listening to everything that they're telling me to do. I'm following direction. I'm respecting them and their voices, their culture and their workspace. But I'm also trying my best to learn all these things that they're trying to make me do, you know? And there have been times where they're micromanaging me very aggressively or passive aggressive. And it made me so uncomfortable. They're telling me not to do this thing, to do it at this time instead, because that's how they do it. And then I see someone else do the same exact thing, and that just makes me feel like that's unequitable. I just let that pester inside me throughout the day. I'm doing my job, feeling like a fucking slave. I go to my boss, I tell him what's going on, what's happening with me and my feelings. And they said, I think you need to seek some help. And I said, no, I don't think so. And I said, I understand if you guys need to find someone different for this job, but I'm also willing to work this out with you guys. And they said, maybe this isn't a good fit. And they let me go. I left, I went about my day. I eventually asked them, when can I receive my check? They said they mailed it out, and I did not request to mail it out. I had asked if I can pick it up. I had to wait 4 days for my check to come in the mail, and I filed a report against that. And that was just shitty. As a new mom, trying to get back into the workforce and have that happen to me is just really shitty, really discouraging. Yeah. And then we have to deal with our child's medical appointments. We had to travel to San Francisco. We had no funds really to go. We used up all of our money to take her to go see a high risk pediatric, or to go to a high risk pediatric clinic in San Francisco. And I tried to ask for help for a social worker for gas vouchers, and there was no resources at all. I went about my day not knowing what to do, not knowing who to ask, but I made posts on my social media. And I am so grateful for the people who sent their support so that we can come back home. It was getting really late. I was trying to find any shelters that were willing to take us in that late, but most of them were closed by that time. And we camped at the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge at the north end of the 101, and we got antagonized by 5 young adults. It's fucking unfortunate. They definitely brought out the bear in me. Did not feel safe. I drove us all the way home that night, having no sleep. Got home at like 6 in the morning. And then other things happened, I don't know what else happened. A lot. Yeah, a lot. My brakes got worn out, and then we're dealing with the diaper rash. And then I had to go to Chico to talk to someone from EDD about paid family leave, because that's where the only place I feel heard, if someone's actually listening to me. And then I come back, and I let our caregiver know our daughter has a diaper rash, a really bad diaper rash. And I had taken her to the ER already. She has a nystatin powder, a Desitin cream, all that. And I can see this caregiver has this bad look on their face, like, I'm not doing like the right things as a parent. She goes and takes my child to her room to change her diaper. And I let her wife know I have to go because I have a meeting, but I'm so sorry. I left. The wife says, "You're doing a great job, Mom." Get in my car, thank you. Get in my car, drive off. Not 2 minutes away, they call, "Hey, come pick up your daughter." Come back. Caregiver tells me, "Hey, I need to talk to you. This is really important. If you really care about your daughter, you stay and talk to me." And I said, "Okay." I'm really upset. I tell Jake to come out of the car because she also wanted to talk to him. And Rafa, our son. And we go inside, and she goes off telling us how this is a really bad thing. And we're telling her, "Yeah, we know that. This is a bad rash." And she's asking me, how did this happen again? This is like the 3rd time. And I'm trying to tell her the reason why she got this diaper rash is because she just started puree foods. She has diarrhea, and she's been sitting in her diarrhea for 2 hours. And we changed her diaper. It's getting bad. Took her to the ER, got what she needed medically, and now I'm doing my due diligence every hour now. She then starts to use accusatory language towards us, and now I feel like she's created this bad image of me as a mother and him as a father. And she's not hearing me out. So I had to ask Jake to explain everything in his calm demeanor. Okay, I wasn't screaming, I was just talking really loud. And he explained everything. We apologized for our reactions. I hugged, I cried, and I apologized. And I left. Throughout that day, I just kept thinking about, should I continue this care? Should this continue? Because now I feel the sour, what is that phrase? The sour taste.
Taste in your mouth.
Yeah, the sour taste in my mouth. Because that happened. Caregiver calls me in the evening, hey, can I drop her off? I have to go to the hospital. My wife is in the hospital. I said, okay. She drops her off at around 5:30ish and goes. I let her know before she left that I'm keeping my daughter home the next day because it's her birthday and we want to spend time with her as a family. She said, okay. Next day happened. Um, I come to the conclusion that I don't want to continue my care with her. I call the agency. I let them know first, hey, I don't want to continue my care. I send a text to them, hey, I don't want to continue my care. And they wished me well. They had asked me to come by to fill out this form so that she could get paid for her hours. And we did arrange a meeting. I didn't make it to that meeting on time, so we arranged a different time. The days go on throughout the week, and on Friday, CPS shows up at our door. I am mad to the core. And I welcome these people, and I said, hey, welcome in. Come on in. You're welcome to come in. They asked us if they could take off their shoes. We said yes. They came upstairs. Zymar was up here with her itinerant teacher. Our itinerant teacher asks us, should I stay or should I go? I said, nope, can you please stay? You're my witness. Please stay. He said, okay. So she's attending to Zymar while I'm talking to these people. They're letting me know that they're here for a diaper rash. Someone reported about a diaper rash and open wounds on her butt because of the diaper rash. I said, yeah, she has a diaper rash. You can do whatever you want with her. You need to take her pants off, look at it, do what you want. Because she does have a rash. And I let them know of what I've done prior, following doctor's orders. She has a reaction to puree food, take her to the ER. I did that. Took her to the ER, she got her prescription. I'm doing my best so that it can go away. And at that time when they checked out her bum, it looked better. There was no open wounds. It just looked better. It's still there. It just looked better. They got all her information. I let her know she's a premature baby, so if you weigh her and she's below average, she's premature. You adjust her age, she's supposed to be 9 months old. They got all the information, all the ROIs, all that good stuff so they can talk to all the other services. And at the end of that, they let me know, you have a lot of mandated reporters in your house. I don't get up to why now there's a concern. And I said, I think I know who it is, and I know why they did it, because they are the only ones to know about her diaper rash. And it's out of pettiness. At the end of it all, they let me know, because they did ask me about my educational background, and they said I can apply to work there. And I was like, cool, yes, I would love to apply, because I'm applying to everywhere for a full-time position that works within my kid's schedule. And they told me where, and I said, okay, cool, and they complimented my house. They complimented my child, and they reminded us that we're doing a really great job already. And they left. And that hit the biggest nail on my head. I kept telling myself, have I not done enough for my kids? I kept questioning my existence. Like, what's the point if I'm not doing enough? And I'm asking, what is enough? I ran on a whole fucking rant on Instagram about it. I'm not going to go on a rant right now because I'm on medication and I don't want to heighten my blood pressure. But that took me on a toll. It took a toll on me. Because I've had back-to-back hardships. And, nothing that I've did to people, Not that I'm a bad person. Mm, it's just shit just happens. I meet the wrong people at the wrong time, and that caregiver was the wrong person at the wrong time. I should have paid more attention. But I admitted myself in a psychiatric or to the hospital for suicide thoughts. Back to the beginning of my topic for mental health. They admitted me really quickly. I'm honestly surprised how quick they took me in. I stayed in the ER for like, what, 2 days? Like 2 days. I was on like a gurney bed on the sidewall for 2 days. Minimal sleep. I would sleep every few hours, eat my meals, and then they transported me to the psychiatric hospital. I stayed there, what, 2 days, 2 more days. Um, I appreciate the people there the most because they heard me and they watched me like a hawk. They watched my every move. And the whole time that I was there, I colored. I colored a lot. As you can see above me, this is the art that I did while I was there for 2 days. Plus some more. I gave one art piece to my daughter, and then I left one art piece at the psychiatric hospital for the doctors and nurses because they helped me a lot. They prescribed me some medication, and they told me that if I wanted to go on a voluntary hold, I can. I'll be there for 14 days, or I can go. And I needed to go because I have things to take care of out here. I have appointments to get to. I have things to get done. And I know if I were to dive in there right now with the 14-day hold, I'm gonna fuck up a lot of things for my kids and my family. So I am glad that I was only there for a 72-hour hold. And I am grateful for the little help that I got while I was there. I got to speak with someone else who was in there. They gave me a little history of Humboldt County. I asked them at one point, what colors should I color the fishes? To help them feel like they are important. Because they added to my art. That's a piece of their spirit up there. And I'm not going to forget who they are. And it's unfortunate because at the end of our conversation with me and that person, they were talking about a conservatorship. And it seems like that person has been in those kind of facilities for a long time because their nails are really long. And I kept thinking to myself, I wish I can clip your nails, sir. And he was telling me that he doesn't know why he was in there. He was in that, it's like a solitary space. You don't have no one else in there. For 3 days. Because a staff member was picking on him and picked a fight with him, and he was just defending himself. And he just got put in that space for 3 days and kept asking, when am I going to get to go back? When am I going to get to go back? And they kept saying, we don't want him here. We don't want him here. And that sucks, because I know what that feels like. My one of the jobs that I mentioned earlier, where I don't have bad blood for them, that's a great example. They still allowed him to go to a different space. They transferred him out. But the little time that I got to know him, I wasn't afraid. He was an old man, a tall old man. And sometimes when you go into psychiatric hospitals, you just don't know who you'll meet. And I was lucky. I met a calm old man who was raised in Humboldt County, is on a conservatorship, and stuck in that facility and can't feel freedom. Can't really go on a walk, on a hike. You can just hear through the windows. It's like jail. It literally did feel like jail at one point. But that's what I asked for. I said, do it, bro. And I just want to share something that one of the nurses told me, because at some point after that I got my medication, I got off the phone call with Jake, and he was catching me up on the last few messages from our last caregiver that used accusatory language towards us. They wanted me to sign the timesheet for them. And he was letting them know I was in the hospital and I might be in here for 14 days. And that was one of the reasons why I came out. Because of fucking y'all. And after that phone call, I had a lot of intrusive thoughts like, fuck, I'm in this kind of place. I'm so afraid that my kids are going to get taken away from me because I came into this place a second time. I asked the nurse if someone can sit down with me and chat. And they did. They came and they said, oh, you see, you're like tense, so we can give you this kind of medication, but we can't prescribe it to you because it's addictive. And they gave it to me. Before they gave it to me, I was able to talk to them. And I asked them, will my kids get taken away from me because I came in here? And they said, no. Everything is documented why you're here. And what you're here for isn't a bad reason. You're just overwhelmed and you need a break and you need sleep. From what we're seeing, you need a break and you need sleep. Because the first day I got there, I didn't sleep and they were expecting me to sleep all day. I was awake. I got transferred there at 3 a.m. Fell asleep a little bit. I woke up a little after breakfast, so like 9-ish. And I stayed awake the whole day. Just imagine 2 days in the ER, hearing all the beeping, the noise machines, people screaming and coming in and out, the gurneys and people at the desks. Yeah, I had a lack of sleep. So they were really worried about me. They gave me some sleeping pills that following night. And I slept good. Like a baby, rock solid. And, yeah, that nurse just assured me that moms who even just have had their baby, like a week later, go in there because of how overwhelmed they are. There's all kinds of mothers who go in there seeking some fucking support and a break. And I just gotta say this for mental health. If you as a parent ever feel like you need to go in, go. Go in. You won't regret it. You'll meet people in those spaces who share the same pain but just walk a different path. And then you'll come out of those spaces also making some friends. At that first place that I went to back in 2021, never gonna forget all those people I met. I still have those people on my media till this day, and they're all living such beautiful lives. And I'm grateful to see that and be a part of that journey, to see and witness it. Because I know we shared some really some serious pain in those times, in those spaces where we were allowed to hold that in those spaces, that pain. And me coloring was what soothed me. It kept my mind busy from thinking about all the bad stuff that has happened to me, plus the medication. Plus the medication. So, this is to all the mothers, to all the dads, and to any humans who also don't have children of their own. If you ever feel the need to go to the hospital for intrusive thoughts, please go seek that support. There's no judgment. They will help you in a heartbeat, literally. And I appreciate all those who reached out to me in messages, phone calls, text messages about their concerns and about their prayers for me and my family. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. That right there to me is the Mycelia Familia. Right there. Because when a plant is asking for help, Mycelia hears that call, grows their roots to that plant that's asking for help, wraps it around their roots, and says, "Hey, I hear you're asking for help. I love you. I want you to grow still. Here's some water. Here's some food. Grow, please. We love you." And then I go and grab all my other roots. Gatito. Tell Jake that we love him. Doña Cayel, that we love him. Yeah, you go cuddle with your Doña Cayel and you hug him because you're Mycelia, I'm Mycelia, and he's Mycelia. We're here to help each other and love each other and take care of each other. He said, "Why'd you stop?" Do you want to share anything?
I mean, essentially, she brought this idea to me after she got out of the hospital and I was able to finally see her. She said she wanted to make a YouTube video, and immediately my gut dropped because I don't like being on camera. I don't like public speaking, but I do have a passion for what we're talking about. Mental health I take very seriously, and I've had my own experiences in psychiatric facilities in the past, and I know that pain. And while she was in there, I was really focused on making sure she didn't stress about us out here, because I knew she needed that time for herself to really focus. And yeah, it was a little hard, but ultimately I was fine. I could handle it. And today it was our daughter's doctor's appointment, and as I was at this doctor's appointment, she gave me a call letting me know that she was being discharged. And I was like, oh. And mind you, also, this doctor's appointment was later than I thought it was. I had to have someone help pick up our son from daycare in time. There's a lot of things crashing down at once. And then she tells me she's getting discharged, and the house was still a mess. And I hadn't cleaned it because the past 2 days I've been really focused on trying to get income, put gas in the tank so I could get our kids to school. And I felt so scared to have her come home to a messy home. And I didn't want her to have to walk through what she left, because when we left this space, it was a mess, and it wasn't even just from her or anything. It was just we've been going through a lot lately, and that's what happens when you got kids. The house gets messy sometimes, and you fall behind on one chore, and it just stacks up. Like our laundry right now is stacked up. It's bad.
It's a never-ending task. I am gonna take I'm gonna take your your path and just take everything to the laundromat, cause
just to catch up. um, but point being is that it was a bittersweet feeling because I knew I wanted her back here, but I wanted to make sure that she knew it was okay to stay there if she needed to, and that I could handle everything. But she told me she was getting discharged. I had to wrap up with the doctor's appointment, and then I drove to go pick up her and our son. And immediately, we were just talking. She brought up this whole video, and like I said, my gut dropped. But thinking about it and listening to her really go through everything and processing more than just the past few months, the past year, it's been a lot for both of us. And we both have our own perspectives on things, but ultimately, the fact that we are right now here together speaking about it means a lot to me. And I agree that anybody who has those thoughts or just is so overwhelmed that they need a break, it's okay to go into a psychiatric facility. At the very least, just seeking mental health support. I think today we have it's a lot easier today than it used to be, but our generation was raised by people who it was very taboo.
Stick it. Let it stick it. No, the nurse said it stays within the family.
Yeah, and for the people of our generation, it's taking a lot of people to break those generational cycles, to create conversation and space for mental health being at the forefront of conversation instead of something you have to hide and feel shamed about. But yeah, mental health it's a doozy. It'll get you, and especially because you feel so trapped within your own thoughts and your own realm of perceptions that, like she expressed, even though she wanted to share things with loved ones or me, we can only do so much until you go to that third party that has no idea who the fuck you are. They don't know your past. They don't judge you based on, oh, I knew you when you were like this. And, they don't have all those biases. So it's a lot easier for them to evaluate where you're at in life, what you're expressing, and they can truly hear it. And that can be really, really therapeutic. Even if it's just someone who, they've just been having a shitty day, and they might not even feel like they really want to go through with a plan of taking their own life. But that thought is pretty normal. Everybody who has a bad day has thought about, what if I just didn't wake up tomorrow? And when you go through that thought process, it can be scary for people who aren't used to it, because it's like, whoa, why am I thinking like this? And that's where that whole stigma about mental health can kind of put you in this box. People are scared to get put in boxes, get labeled as, oh, this is your diagnosis now. Some people take pride in their diagnosis.
I will right now, soon.
And other people also refuse to believe their diagnosis. And both of those can be dangerous paths to walk. Because regardless of the diagnosis, what matters is that you're trying to get support to how you feel. The DSM, I have my own reserves about that. That's a whole other video. But all these mental health disorders that they can slap us with really aren't just a label. It's a buildup of lived experiences, trauma. The list goes very deep, basically. And at the end of it all, if you can't accept that it's okay to not be okay, then you're always going to be fighting and pretending to be okay. Sometimes you just can't be okay, and that's totally fine. But if I had to share or sum this up, a message to somebody who's struggling right now, it's that every day that you wake up, the first thing you should do is realize what was the first thing you did. You woke up, you took a breath, you opened your eyes, maybe you stretched your fingers. You start to notice all the sensations of being alive and what that's like. And just that simple practice alone, doing that every morning when you wake up, over time you'll start to notice how much easier it begins to be to go into life. Because sleep, they call the cousin of death, right? We go to sleep, we're basically unconscious. We're in a dream world sometimes. And some people really like to stay in sleep, but that can be, you're depressed. You don't want to be alive. You don't want to go handle your adult duties or whatever it may be. But waking up and being grateful and realizing how blessed we all are is the number one thing that you can do to just start being okay with living, no matter how hard shit gets. You gotta find something to be grateful for. And for me, it's my family. My kids are the main motivation that kept me okay while she was going through this. Because I was terrified, honestly. Because again, I've had my own experiences and I know what it feels like. But being grateful for my kids kept me sane, kept me grounded, kept me in a space where I could continue to keep living my life and keep doing what I needed to do to provide for them and for myself. So yeah, to sum it up, just find something to be grateful for and don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to even reach out to people that you may have an issue with. Squash that beef. There's so much tension in relationships sometimes that people are scared to just approach the conversation. And you have to use your judgment, right timing, of course. If the person's not in the right mindset, leave them the fuck alone. But
yes.
It is really important to have these kind of conversations, which I think is what the point of this video is. It's to open up a conversation about mental health and allow the community that we're trying to cultivate through Mycelia Familia to share their experiences if they feel so inclined to connect with each other. That's one of the cool things about building a community is we may have an idea of what we want the community to be like, but it's going to form itself. And people will meet each other in that community. They might not even really meet us. They just might meet someone in a comment section, and then boom, a friendship's fostered through that.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing where this goes. I, again, hate being on camera. I cannot stress that enough. So there may be times where I don't speak like this. The only reason why I can speak like this right now is because I'm comfortable and I'm okay.
And I'm holding your hand.
And she's holding my hand. But point being, everybody just has to be grateful if they have somebody, or even if you don't have somebody, you have yourself and you're alive. And let's just fucking live, dude. Let's be blessed.
And I am blessed to say that I have PTSD and depression. We all have PTSD.
I'm here, everybody.
Yeah. But my PTSD is so bad that, if I go to my local market and I look at the cashier person and they give me a dirty look walking in, I'm going to carry that look throughout my time I'm in that grocery store up until I leave. And that stays with me for the whole day. I'm thinking about, what the fuck did I do wrong for that person to look at me like that? Like, how can I fix that problem? And then I start to people please other people so that I can fix that issue for myself. But at the end of the day,
it's Giovanni.
It's Giovanni. At the end of the day, I shouldn't let that get to me. But right now I'm taking medication to help me stop thinking like that. And I appreciate that there is medicine right now that's available for me to heal this this part of my brain, because there's something chemically imbalanced in here that I need to rewire in some form, either through Western medicine, which is chemical pills, or I want to go the natural way, which is herbalism and ceremonies or ceremonial practices that can help relieve my spirit, which I'm doing both. So I'm not discriminating from either or anything that would help me. If it's from, my daughter's half Vietnamese. So like if someone from her culture would love to come and help me, I would welcome them in my space as long as they don't have bad intentions. So that's just how I perceive it. We're learning different languages right now. I'm learning how to speak um, Arabic and also Navajo and also Nahuatl. I'm sorry if I say that wrong, but that language is my mother's native language from where she's from. Um, Plus more that I plan to learn about. I know a little bit of Vietnamese. I know American Sign Language. I clearly know Spanish. That is my native language. Um, but at the end of it all, what Jake said, it's okay to seek help. Don't be afraid to, because they're there for a reason. They exist for a reason. And nothing you say or do, you know, will hurt others unless you are physically and verbally hurting others. I'm sorry, I'm tired.
We're both exhausted.
We're both exhausted. It's like an hour in, almost an hour and a half in this video. But this is what I want to share with you guys. And I hope people are nice to each other in the comments and to us. And Godspeed.
Much love.